Hello ladies and gentlemen, and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host Brett Murphy, and for today I have a brand new channel update for you all. And as you might have been able to surmise from the title of this video, it's a bit of a two-parter. So the first part is that yes, unfortunately, I will be taking a short break from the channel, and really I'd prefer to put short in quotations just like that, because I really only plan on taking like a week or two, and I also plan to still continue doing my shorts every day with the daily nerdy news wrap-ups anyway, so it's not much of a break, it's just a break from the longer form main uploads. And the reason for this is that I will be starting my new job on Monday, January 30th. It is a 9 to 5 job, so I think just because I'm starting a brand new job, I really need to kind of shut off my brain to everything else and really just kind of take everything in, get in there, get my hands dirty, learn the ropes, and just kind of get settled and kind of put YouTube to the side for a couple weeks until I am sort of settled and know what I'm doing in this new position. As I said though, I still do intend to upload my daily nerdy news wrap-ups. They might just be a little later in the day. Typically I upload them around 3:30 or so my time, but I will be working until 5, so they might be a bit later on in the day, maybe even in the nighttime, but I do still intend to get those out every day. But that's really the only reason. I'm still loving doing YouTube, it's still my passion, and I still want to come on here and talk movies with each and every one of you as often as I possibly can, but right now it's just very important to me to get in there and give this job my all and just pick things up as fast as I can, learn as quickly as possible, and then just get to work. The other side to this taking a small break thing is that I also need to find out how to best divide up my time. So once again, it is a 9 to 5 job, you get home, you have supper and things like that. I only really have a few hours to play around with each and every night, and I have to find ways to spend time with my girlfriend, spend time with my family, work on YouTube. I don't know how much work I'm gonna have to take home with me at the end of the day. And of course, it's always nice too to have a bit of alone time for yourself to just kick back and watch movies or play some games or read or do some writing or whatever it is that you enjoy doing. So I have to try and figure out over the next couple of weeks where YouTube fits into all of that. What days work best, how much time I should be spending on it each day, how many uploads I can manage a week. So that's the reason for this short break, because again, I really only intend for this break to last a week or two, and the shorts will not stop. Just a brief note too before I get into the second part, I do still have a couple of videos planned to come out after this update, but before my break commences, those being my ranking of all of the $2 billion club movies, because Avatar: The Way of Water just joined that club, as well as my ranking of all 10 of the 2023 Oscar Best Picture nominations. And I also plan on doing a Blu-ray collection update video. I like to do those every year around December, January. I let this one get away from me a little bit, but I do plan on having that one come out as well before my break starts. Now that is the first part of this channel update, and to just reaffirm that I am not going anywhere and that this is indeed just a short break, the main reason I wanted to make this video is because I need your help. Yes, you, the viewer on the other side of the screen right now, I need you to help me. Whether you're a family member or a friend or a fellow YouTuber or dare I say a fan or supporter, I want to hear from you, so please, the main reason I'm making this video is for the comments. I need your help in deciding what to do next. The main reason for this is that the channel is actually growing at a moderately steady pace, and really I just want to know what you want to see from me. I will still of course be making my own decisions and making videos that I want to make because, you know, I made this channel to talk about the things I'm passionate about and the movies I love and speak my opinion and get it out there into the world. But it is very important to me to hear from you on what kind of videos that you want to see. So of course there are really the 4 main types of videos that I already cover regularly on this channel, but I still want to hear from you on those. So of course the biggest one and one of the main draws of my channel is my ranking video. So I want to hear from you what rankings do you want to see from me? Do you want me to rank movies in a franchise? Do you want me to rank a director's filmography? Do you want me to rank more actors' filmographies? Do you want to do custom rankings or anything at all? Like any ranking that you want to see that I've done before with like characters or movies, franchises, or any sort of custom rankings that you want to see, comment below. I think I'm gonna leave comments from me in the comment section saying like, comment your ranking ideas here, comment your this idea here, and then that way it'll kind of streamline it a little bit and make it a bit easier for me to make note of everything. But yes, rankings, what do you want to see? What movies, what franchises, what actors, what directors? Let me know. Of course, I've also done plenty of top 10s over the years as well, and that's another thing. Some of my top 10s are huge hits, and some of them are massive duds. So, what top 10s do you want to see? There's a bit more freedom in top 10s because you can really cover any topic that has to do with actors, directors, movies, franchises, anything like that. So any top 10s that you want to see from me, whether it's a top 10 that you saw like Watch Mojo do or What Culture do or anything like that, or just a top 10 that you came up with yourself, comment it below as well, and it will absolutely be marked down for me to cover in the future. This type of video, I haven't done a ton of them, but I really do enjoy doing them, and that is the tier list videos. So once again, a lot of them could also fall under the category of like rankings, but tier lists sometimes are just a bit more fun, a bit more loosey-goosey. I typically don't do too much, if any, editing at all with those, and it's also nice just to have that visual, and some people like me to link them to those tier lists so they can do their own as well, and that's perfectly cool too. But once again, what tier lists do you want to see? What characters do you want me to cover? What movies in a franchise do you want me to cover? You know, send me tier lists. You can literally put links in the comments to tier lists that you want me to do, and once again, I will absolutely be making note of it for the future. And the last one is also a major draw for my channel. If you checked out my popular uploads playlist at all, this is the majority of that playlist, and that is my versus videos, aka the cinema showdowns. More so just refer to them as versus videos now, because the cinema showdowns thing never really caught on all that much. But nevertheless, they do take a lot of work. However, I love doing them because they cause so much debate and so much discussion, and I just have fun doing them myself too. So I did set up new formats for these because I was getting tired of trying to come up with rounds and worrying about trying to get it to that final round and doing this and doing that and cutting things out and seeing what to group where. So I did go through and make just base rounds for every type of video, for a versus video that I can think of, any type of showdown. And now I want to hear from you. What do you want to see? What movie versus what movie? What franchise or series versus what franchise or series? What character versus character? What actors versus actors? What directors versus directors? Or if you can think of anything else that would be fun to cover, comment that below too. Again, with the versus videos, I don't make as many as I used to, and that's because they do take a lot of work. They take the most work on my channel because there's just so much that goes into the graphics. I have to find so many screenshots and trailers and clips and things like that. However, they still are a total blast to do, so I want to hear from you. What versus videos do you want to see from me? Now, this part is going to get a bit tricky. In fact, just to make things a little easier, I'm going to have my phone with me here just to read off of the list that I've been making over the last couple of years. Anytime I have an idea, it goes in this particular note that I have labeled a certain way, and it might mess with the green screen a little bit, but it's just so much easier. It'll make things go so much smoother. So I have had plenty, and I mean just many, ideas for new types of videos to bring to the channel, and I have tested the waters here and there a few times, and for the most part, it's been hit or miss. Some of them actually worked fairly well, but some of them didn't gain much traction, so it's kind of deterred me from doing them. But I do want to branch out and not just do tier videos and ranking videos and top 10s and versus videos only. I want to branch out, and I want to be able to form my own identity and do my own unique things, but I want to hear from you which of these ideas entice you the most. So I will go through them. The first few are just kind of top 10 variations, and those are like my top 10 favorites, being like comedies, horrors, etc. Top 10s of the decade, so maybe I can do like I did before. I did top 10 horror movies of the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. So maybe I could do that for other genres of movies, or top 10 like favorite actors of a decade or movies of a decade and just things like that. Top 10 moments in a franchise, so I've also done a similar variation to that with like the best moment in every Spider-Man movie, the best moment in every Batman movie, and little things like that. So maybe top 10 moments in a bigger franchise like the MCU or something, or Star Wars, or just the best moment from every movie. Or top 10 themed videos too, like the one I have here is like top 10 kills in the Halloween franchise is an example, or you can say top 10, you know, whatever, funniest jokes in the MCU, even though most of the jokes aren't all that funny, things like that, right? So top 10 themed videos. Another idea I had for a very long time is a series called That Time Hollywood, and the example that I have is like That Time Hollywood tried to make Paul Bettany a big star, and what caused this to go off in my head is that there was a string of movies in like the late 2000s, early 2010s where Paul Bettany was the star, like the movie Priest or the movie Legion, and those movies just flopped hard and didn't go anywhere. So to me, I was like, you remember when Hollywood just really pushed for Paul Bettany to be the next big thing, and it didn't really work out? Well, that could be something that I could cover, or other topics like that where Hollywood's failed experiments just kind of get brought to light. The next one I had was Cinema Showdown brackets, or Cinema Showdown gauntlets, or just versus video brackets or gauntlets. A bracket, of course, being like your standard playoff bracket for whatever sport it is you watch, like basketball or football or hockey or whatever. So it's like, you know, the bracket gets laid out and then they just go versus one at a time until we have one winner. So that could be like a specific category like MCU villains bracket or something like that. And then a gauntlet, which of course is like a ladder system more so, like Mortal Kombat style. So a gauntlet's like when you have one character that just keeps going up against new characters every time they win until they lose, essentially. And that could also be like movies in a franchise or characters or whatever too. So that could be a fun one. Easy fixes, I used to do a lot of those in the past. I've kind of gotten away from them, but I do still think they're a lot of fun. And that's where I take a movie or a franchise that has just either was poorly received or has kind of died off over time, or maybe it's a franchise that never really got off the ground, and I thought that there's really just an easy way that they could fix this and everything could have been turned around, or could be still turned around in the future. So that's easy fixes. Just kind of general discussion videos or video essays. So like discussion videos would be like the Let's Discuss videos I used to do, where I kind of just hop on the camera and ramble, but that would be more about like specific topics rather than like general topics, and that's where video essays might be more of like a broader topic. Discussion videos would be just more willy-nilly, more just off the cuff, off the top of my head, just kind of rambling, whereas the video essays would be scripted. I might not even be on camera at all. It might be more just like visuals, and it would be me, you know, I'd write everything down like an actual script, like an actual essay, and then read it off. I considered maybe doing first-time watches at some point, where either I would discuss a movie that I watched for the very first time and say how I felt it lived up to the kind of general perception of the movie over time, right? Because maybe if I didn't watch something like The Godfather, for an example, and I have seen The Godfather, but say I didn't watch The Godfather before and I watched it for the first time, many consider that to be the best movie of all time, so I would go in and say, how do I feel? Is it the best movie of all time? And, you know, the things I liked and disliked. Or maybe it would be like a first-time watch where I record myself watching something for the first time and then kind of chop it up and weave in and out of YouTube's copyright policies and then post that. I'm going to try to go through these a bit quicker because there's a lot of ideas here. So maybe what if videos. A key idea I had from a while ago was what if Guillermo del Toro actually directed the Hobbit movies instead of Peter Jackson, so I could explore that idea, or many other what if ideas in Hollywood. Maybe do some live watch-alongs, and that's another thing I had, maybe like BAMTube Live as well, where maybe I did like weekly updates on everything, like all the big news of the week, or maybe I did like every couple days I do a live stream and just like a Q&A and like a hangout and talking. I think I'm falling for, which I did one or two of those before, and that's basically a movie that I either didn't like or thought was just okay upon first watch, but then over numerous rewatches and over time, I've really kind of fallen for it, and I like it a lot more than I used to. The Brink of Perfection is another series that I want to do, where movies are like just right there, like a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10, but not quite that 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 or 100%, because they've fallen victim to one fatal flaw. So The Brink of Perfection is talking about movies that are on the brink of perfection. In Defense Of would be a series that more kind of where I talk about movies that I like and sort of offer up counter arguments to general criticisms or general, the dislike or perception of the movie. I don't really have any specific examples off the top of my head, but, like for instance, I could say like Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. That's a 10 out of 10 for me, and I could easily just, talk on camera about why I love the movie and then go against the counter arguments that the movie's not too dark and that killing Zod made perfect sense and things like that. So that's sort of that in defense of. Why I love is sort of a twist on in defense of, but instead I would more so just be gushing about a specific movie and why it means so much to me personally and why I love it so much. Not the same. I sort of did a video like this before where I talked about Vision in the comics versus Vision in the MCU, so I could do other variations of that with other MCU or DC characters or something along those lines. We Forgot About is a video I've done once before with My Bloody Valentine, so essentially it's just bringing movies that I feel we have forgotten about or don't talk about enough back into the spotlight and discussing why I think more people should watch it, or why you should give it another chance, or why you should talk about it a bit more. The best something of every movie, like I already said before, the best moment in every Spider-Man movie, best moment in every Batman movie, best kill in every Halloween movie, things like that as examples. Origin story, that would kind of be like the Watch Mojo series that they do where I talk about like the origin stories to heroes and villains, or maybe characters that you want to know more about, and I can just kind of do a deeper dive into specific characters and who they are and where they've come from and their motives and things like that. Maybe do more anniversary collaboration videos. So I did one a little while ago called Star Wars Revenge of the Sith 15 years later or something like that, and I invited a few people to come on and talk for a minute or a minute and a half about, their thoughts on Revenge of the Sith and why they love it and why it's their favorite of the prequels and things like that. So maybe I could do more anniversary collaboration videos like that. I can go and see what anniversaries we have throughout 2023 and then invite people onto the channel to sort of help me out with that. Reacting to Twitter replies is one that I kind of thought of, so maybe I could put out tweets like, what are your MCU's hot takes, and then do a video where I just sit down at my computer and scroll through all the replies and react to people's hot takes, or, I could title it something like reacting to Twitter's MCU hot takes, or things like that, but that's just an example. I could, reacting to Twitter's this, reacting to Twitter's that, and just doing reaction videos to insane tweets. So this one is a bit of a bigger one that I kind of thought of because I always want to try to do my own almost like kill count styled video like Dead Meat, the channel, because I love that guy. James A. Janice and Chelsea, they've done wonderful work, and Zora and the rest of the team. But I always want to do something that like my channel could be identified as. So I had an idea of like a deeper dive, it's called. So basically I would talk about a movie, and I would talk about, start off with general information like who the director was, who the cast is, who the writers were, and like, when the movie released and the general consensus about the movie and how much it made at the box office. But then I would dive a bit deeper and talk about like the build up to the movie, like the Netflix series, the movies that made us, talk about how the movie got made. And then once I get into the actual movie, I would maybe just break down its key scenes or its most iconic or most memorable scenes, talk about who wrote the scene, give all the behind the scenes information I possibly can, talk about the CGI work that went into it or the practical work or things like that, and just really do a deeper dive into all of your favorite movies. So let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. A series called Journey, where I would just, as an example, I said Iron Man's journey in the MCU or Thor's journey in the MCU so far, where I would just talk about every single thing that a character in a franchise or series went through from beginning to end, or if they're still going beginning till now. And the last little one here is, it's kind of the one I already talked about, first time watches. So I said, it's titled like, so I watched insert movie title here for the first time. And I would just talk about how my thoughts compare to the kind of general consensus on a movie that I've never seen before that the public just seems to simply adore. So let's see here. I also forgot about these last two video types. I'm actually recording this afterwards, but nevertheless, the first one being a series I like to call the Director's Chair, where I essentially give a title to a director that kind of summarizes their careers in my mind, and then I would spend the video going through their filmography, as well as sort of explaining why I gave them that title. So I've already actually done one of these a while ago, called Paul W.S. Anderson Anderson, the king of big budget B movies, and I just kind of went through his career and explained why this guy has such a big cult following, why I think his big budget B movies are so popular, and things like that. I have a few other examples too that I wanted to cover, like Mike Flanagan, the modern master of suspense, Christopher Nolan, prestigious or pretentious, Rob Zombie, the godfather of hillbilly horror, Quentin Tarantino, the homage master, Ari Aster, the king of art house horror, or Robert Eggers, the period piece prince. And the last one is I will be focusing on someone's career in a specific decade, so I could do something like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s or Steven Spielberg in the 90s, where I will go through everything that they did in the 80s or 90s. Of course, this is a movie-based channel, so I would primarily be focusing on their filmographies and everything that they released in that decade, but I might also touch on some major life events and things like that, and again, just really cover everything that they did in that decade. Last three topics I want to try to cover rapid fire as quickly as possible. This one is that out of everything I just mentioned, out of the four main idea types that I already cover, and out of all of the new type of videos that I've considered or am considering doing, what other suggestions do you have? What other types of videos do you love to see from your favorite content creators? What other ideas do you cover that maybe you want to see my version of it and how I cover it? Or what other ideas do you have that you've just thought up that you would love to see me or wish more content creators would do something like that? So any ideas that you have in your own beautiful mind, drop them in the comments as well. Video types that you want to see me do, as well as examples or maybe how you would do it, and just give me a general idea of what you are thinking. The second to last topic I want to cover is if I ever decided to start a Patreon or a YouTube supporters page or whatever it is it's called, essentially where you pay a monthly fee of whatever type or whatever amount, and then you get exclusive content that only people who pay for get. I know Patreon has like multiple tiers, like $5, $10, $15, $100 a month or whatever. I'm not sure how the YouTube one works all that much. I haven't looked into it too much, but I have considered doing it because it would definitely help with the channel a lot. Some of my equipment's getting a bit outdated, so any money that I make from YouTube, like with the partner program, or if I decided to do something like this, would just go right back into the channel. So if you have any ideas at all of what you would like to see, if you would consider subscribing to a Patreon of mine or like a YouTube membership or whatever it is, what would you want to see? What exclusive perks do you want? What exclusive videos or video types do you want to see? What would you want to see from me? What would entice you to join my Patreon? What would entice you to join my YouTube membership program? That's what I want to know. So I'm not saying I would start one, but if I did, what perks or incentives would you like to see that would entice you to join my Patreon or YouTube membership? And the very last topic is a brief one, and again, one I haven't considered too much, but one that I've kind of dabbled with a little bit here and there, and that is merchandise. If I ever did do merchandise, what type of merchandise would you like to see? Like t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, pins, stickers, hats. What would you like to see, and would you be interested in something like that? Would you buy a BAMTube hoodie with my logo on the front and something like It's a Wrap with a clapper board on the back? Would you buy a mug with the logo on it? Would you want like t-shirts that have maybe sayings that I go to all the time, or any sort of custom shirts or hoodies or anything like that? So merchandise, does that interest you? Would you buy it? And if you would be interested in it, what type of merchandise would you like to see from me? Okay. Whew. Massive exhale now that we've gotten through all of that. So once again, just to touch on everything, I am taking a short break, very short, like a week or two till I get settled into my new job, but I will still continue doing shorts, and I need your help. What types of rankings, top 10s versus videos, and tier videos do you want to see from me? Out of all of the new types of videos I've listed, which one of those kind of piques your interest the most and that you'd like to see, as well as what other ideas for video types do you have? if I were to ever start a Patreon or a YouTube partner program or supporters program or whatever it's called, what sort of perks and videos and so on would you like to see, and what would your thoughts be on that? Would anything like that interest you? And if I ever did start trying to sell merchandise, what types of merchandise would you like to see, and would that even, be up your alley? Would that interest you whatsoever? So I think that is finally all from me, folks. Once again, I'm not going anywhere. Just a week or two until I get settled into my new job, and my shorts should still be coming out on a daily basis, so you will still be seeing plenty of me. But the real main reason I wanted to make this video is because I need your help. So please, 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 if you made it this far, comment down below the things that you want to see from me. As always, folks, thank you all so much for watching. I cannot emphasize that enough. Stay safe out there, and that's a wrap. Hey you, yeah you, if you made it this far, just know I appreciate you, and while you're here, consider hitting that subscribe button.